Hello class, today I want to talk about how to find summary statistics, find the mean, the median, the mode, the standard deviation, 5-number summary, all that good stuff, using Google Sheets. So that's our goal here. It's pretty straightforward. The first thing we need to do is import our data, and so I've got something somewhere. What's that one? Yep, that's the one I want. So here is some data that I imported. It's from one of the homework questions. It has our cholesterol level and our cholesterol level, and then by age group there. And so I want to do some summary statistics. I want to start by grouping the data. So what I'm going to do is highlight. Can I highlight A and B? Whoops. I want to highlight both of these. Nope, that's going to move them. Okay, highlight A and B. And I want to start by sorting the data. I want to sort, by sort sheet by column B, actually, is what I want to sort by. Where is that? Oh, no, that was not what I wanted to do, but that's all right. I want to do B and then A. So if I highlight B first, does that let me do? Yeah, there we go. Sort by column B, A to Z. All right. Whoops, and then I got my headers in there. Somehow, my headers disappeared. Okay, well, oh well, that's all right. That'll work. And then so what I want to do then is I want to do my summary statistics on that. And so there's various commands to do it. So if I want to do let's do 20s, 30s, 40s, and let's find the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, the Q1, first quartile, median, Q3, the third quartile, and the maximum. And so what I'd want to do is then, we'll make that column a little bit bigger, is use the appropriate command. So the mean, a lot of times the average is what they use for the mean. And so if I want to find the mean of people in their 20s, I'm going to start there and then highlight all my 20s. And there's a lot of them. So it takes a while to scroll down to the bottom till I'm done with the 20s. And this data set is really big. Gives us a little bit of challenge of working with big data, that when typically in the workforce, you're going to have a lot of information to work with. So it's a kind of a good practice to work with a large number of data, although it does kind of draw away from looking at just the what's the essentials, but you do get to look at the big thing. So average is the command. Whoop, there we are. I'm through the 30s. Whoops, I went too far again. Takes a little bit here to get to the right, and there's the end. There is the end of the 20s and the start of the 30s. So I'm going to find the average of that group. It's nice to note the endpoints there. So 20s go from A1 to A595. Okay. And no, I don't want to use that successive autofill. What happened there? Okay. And then for standard deviation, STDEV is typically the same thing. And I want to do A1 to A 395. Was that the number? That wasn't the right number. It's 959. So 959. A 959. Uh-oh, inside. A 959. There we are. Now I've got it in the right spot there. But you can use that same sort of reference once you've discovered what it is to do that again. So minimum value gives you the same thing. A1 to A 959. That makes life a lot easier on us now that I know that. Your quartile would be the quartile. And the one that we want, there's a couple of them up there. I want you to use the EXC version. That version excludes the does not, if there's an odd number of values, it does not include the median in there, and that's the way most places do. There are the option to include them, and some software does it that way in some situations, but our textbooks says when you find the median, exclude the median. When you find the quartiles, we don't count the median as part of the quartiles. It shifts where the quartiles are off by half a digit, whether you include it or not include it. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to put a 1 here for the first quartile. Okay. And then I could either use the median in this range. Again, same sort of thing. A1 ... A 959 was the last value in there. So it's a good idea to identify those. The third quartile will be quartile.exc. And again, A1 ... A 959, and then a comma 3 to get the third quartile, and then finally the max equals max of A1 comma A 959. All right, and so that gives us the mean, the median, and the mode for the values there. And what we could do then, I want to do it for the 20s and 30s, and so I'm gonna copy them over. It's going to give me a lot of errors there because the reference is now wrong. What I need to do is go change the reference values here. But I think that's easier, might be easier than typing in the formulas again. So it's a question of what's easier, typing in the whole formula or just copying over the formulas and then doing that. So this is the 30s. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom of my 30s, or the start of my 30s, highlight the whole 30s range. And eventually, I think we'll get there. Yep, there's a lot of data here. Can I move down here a little faster? Oh, there's where the 30s start. There's where the 30s start. A little bit too low. Let me slide up a couple. There's the first of the 30s, and we'll highlight all the 30s. Once we notice this range, we can use it in the formulas afterwards, but it does take a little bit. So I'm going from A960. I want to go from A960 to the last of the 30s is, oh, still going. Still going. And we keep going. More 30s. And keep scrolling down. We'll get to, oops, now I'm into the 40s. I gotta go back. Okay, 30s end there at 1905. The 30s end at 1905. So 960 to 1905. 960 to 1905. And so I want to go change these. So it goes from A960 to A1905. And I want to do that in each one of these. A960 to A 1905 and A 960 to A 1905. And then the 1 for the first quartile, A 960, A 1905. It's a little bit easier to do with a smaller data set. Of course, you don't have to scan so much, but A 960, A 1905. Whoops, I got some extra stuff in there I need to delete. And it's got to be a semicolon between or colon between those two. And then the quartile number that you want for the quartile. And finally, A 960, A 1905, and then delete that extra B stuff that I don't need in there. Okay, and then for the 1940s, I know it's going to start at A 1906, and it's going to end at A whatever that last number was. I think it's like 3000 or something, but let's go. So I'm going to type, let me go down here and see what the very last value is. Oh, there's my titles, they're at the bottom. So my last one is 3044. So 3044 is where I want that thing to end up at. So my last value here would be 3044 to get the last value. So A 1906 is where we started off with the 40s to A 3044. That's where we want to end. And so if we just go in and edit these, it'll give us the 5-number summary and the 3044. And I want to start at 1906. All right. And so you go through and edit these, and you can get all the different values that you need as well to generate those. Okay? And that will give us our graph. If we want to make a graph of that, let's see, will it let me insert a chart? It does not look like it's doing what I want it to do. Chart type, what I'm hoping for is a histogram. Do we have a histogram? Bar, pie, scatter, map, other. Histogram chart. That's all the data. Can I switch it to be let's do to A 1344. Those are just the cholesterol levels of everybody, but it's not broken out by age group. I want to use column B as labels, and it's not giving me that option. What can I do under histogram here? I can change the buckets. What about the item dividers? I'm not see if that's doing anything. It's auto-generating the bucket sizes, which is fine. Okay, but what I'd want to do is generate 3 histograms, one for each population, people in their 20s, one for people in their 30s, one for people in their 40s, to get those 3 comparisons in there. If I wanted to do that, so I'd have to mess around here with the data that I'm looking at to generate the 3 different histograms based on the 3 different data sets in there. All right. So that's basically, this is how to calculate it in there. It doesn't look like it's giving a nice way to generate the histograms, but you do have to adjust the formulas here so that you're getting the right ranges. And it might be 3044 was the last one there to get the values there. You could also grab the data and pull it off to a side. That might make life a little bit easier. 20s, 30s, and 40s. And so that might make it a little bit easier that if you grab like all the data, all the 40s data, and put it in one column, that might make the calculations easier on you. Instead of having it in one huge column, to have 3 separate columns, one column for the 20s, one column for the 30s, one column for the 40s. Here. So I'm just going to do a copy and paste. I'm going to highlight all the 40s numbers. Eventually I'll find the end of the 40s numbers. 1906 is where I want to start. 1906, 76. Yeah. So Control C to copy, and then Control V to paste. Control V. All right, and then that might make the histograms, making the histograms easier in there, and it also might make your formatting for these together. Because if you pick this range and then you copy the formulas over, it will automatically adjust the ranges for you, which might make filling in the formulas a little bit easier, a little bit less tedious than going here and typing in those ranges yourself, because it might be easier to find this range just by highlighting this column over here instead. All of those values in that column, rather than trying to type in but typing in the label's not so bad. I am scrolling down. Yeah, I'm scrolling down. So it's a lot of copy paste kind of things, or adjust the values. But the commands that you want to use, I got to the end somewhere. I don't know where I am now. I kind of scroll over things. But the commands that you want to use are pretty much the commands that you want. Okay, well, it didn't. That you expect that mean is average. Average is the word that we use for the mean, although mean isn't always the average. Standard deviation is STDEV, and then the range of values they're looking for. You can get a min with just minimum. Quartile EXC is the one that you want. The range of values, comma, and then a 1 to get you the first quartile. Median is either median, but you could also use quartile, but find the second quartile. Where is the cutoff before the second quartile? 2/4 is the same as 1/2, and the median is where half the data is. So you can do the second quartile or the median. Median's a little bit easier though. Third quartile is quartile, and then a 3 after you select your range, and of course maximum is maximum, and it will give you the values there that you need. Okay, can I copy paste? No, that would be so much easier. Can I do that? Control C, and then can I come in here and do Control V? Oh, my new friend. That's much better. So once you found the range, if you highlight it, you can copy it and paste it into the other formulas. Way easier than typing. I love it when I find new tricks. All right. But there you've got your 5-number summary for your 3 distributions. In there, I think you can see that the mean is getting larger from each one of those. The mean keeps getting larger. You can see that in the median. The median is also growing larger. The standard deviation, which is a measure of the spread, the variability, stays roughly the same. There's a little bit of an increase in there, but not as big of an increase as there is in just the mean. The mean is going up about, 40 points here? Roughly 30 points. between the 20s and 40s, but the standard deviation only increases by 4, so not nearly as big as an increase in there. Another thing to maybe check out is the interquartile range. The IQR, the interquartile range, and that is the Q3 value subtract the Q1 value. And if I do that going across, it's 45 for the first column, and it's 51 for the next two. So there's not a big difference in where the first and third quartile, the gap between the first and the third quartile stays roughly the same. All right. I hope this helps you find standard deviation and means using a spreadsheet as your calculator. And I will hear from you later.